What would you do if someone tried to steal your paid-off house using fake paperwork? Would you give up, or would you fight back, even from 7,000 miles away? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm sharing how an HOA president filed 27 fraudulent liens to try to steal our mortgage-free home while I was deployed overseas. If you've ever dealt with HOA harassment, hit that subscribe button, because this story ends with handcuffs. My name's Marcus Torres. I'm an Air Force technical sergeant stationed at F.E. Warren AFB in Cheyenne, Wyoming. 6 months ago, my grandmother Rosa passed away and left me her house in Casper, a 3-bedroom ranch in Prairie View Estates she'd bought in 1987. Nothing fancy, but she'd paid it off 10 years ago, worth about $285,000 now, and it was ours free and clear. After my deployment to Qatar ended, my wife and I decided to move in. She was an elementary school teacher, and Casper had better schools for our kids. Sophia, 8, and Marco, 6. Plus, no mortgage meant we could actually save money. The house needed work. Grandma had been sick her last year, but our neighbors were amazing. Bill and Janet Walsh brought casseroles. The Noyens offered their lawnmower. Everyone said how much they'd missed Rosa. Except Brenda Hutchinson. I met our HOA president on day 3. She showed up while I was fixing the mailbox, dressed like she was showing a $1 million listing. "You must be Rose's grandson," she said, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. "I'm Brenda, HOA president, also a real estate agent, if you decide this place is too much work." "We're not selling," I said. "This was my grandmother's home." Her smile tightened. "Of course. Though you should know there are some accumulated violations from when the house was vacant. Your grandmother was ill, so we didn't pursue them, but—" "What violations?" She pulled out a leather folder. Grass height, mainly. Exterior maintenance. Nothing major, but they do carry fines. The previous owner might have had some unpaid dues as well. That raised my hackles. I have all the probate paperwork. This house is paid off, no liens, no debts. Something shifted in Brenda's face. Lawyers don't always catch everything. HOA liens can be complicated. Good thing I'm not complicated. If there's a legitimate debt, show me the paperwork. She clutched that folder tighter. Your grandmother was very cooperative, never gave us any trouble. I'd hate to see that change with the new generation. Is that a threat? It's neighborhood history. She glanced at our Texas plates. Military families sometimes don't understand how things work in established communities. But don't worry, I'll send over all the relevant documentation. She walked away, heels clicking. Janet Walsh was watering her roses nearby, watching. "That woman's been president for 12 years, Janet said quietly. "Never seen an election. Be careful." "It's fine," I told her. "I've dealt with worse." But 3 days later, the first certified letter arrived, and I realized Grandma Rose's gift was about to become a battlefield. The first certified letter claimed we owed $1,200 in past due HOA fees from the 6 months the house sat vacant. I had Grandma's bank statements showing every HOA payment cleared right up to her death. I called the phone number on the HOA letterhead. It rang to Brenda's real estate office. Prairie View HOA, Brenda speaking. This is Marcus Torres. I got your letter about past due fees, but I have receipts showing... Mr. Torres, those receipts are from the previous payment system. We switched management companies. The new system shows arrears. What management company? That's board business. Just pay the fees and avoid further action. I hung up and called 3 property management companies in Casper. None had ever heard of Prairie View Estates. 2 weeks later, another certified letter. $800 for grass height violations during vacancy. Then $500 for unauthorized exterior paint. The house had been the same beige for 20 years. The day after I left for a 2-month deployment to South Korea, Brenda struck hard. Angela called me at 3 a.m. Korea time, crying. She filed something at the courthouse, a lien. Marcus, she put a lien on our house. For what? The $1,200. Plus $500 in administrative fees, plus $300 in legal costs, $2,000 total. While I was stuck overseas, the liens kept coming. Every week, sometimes twice. Unapproved basketball hoop, there for 30 years. Rejected door color, unchanged since the 90s. Failure to maintain lawn during rainstorm. By month 3, she'd filed 27 liens totaling $47,350. Angela was falling apart. I can't sleep. The kids keep asking why I'm upset. Every certified letter makes me sick. I'm trying to get emergency leave. They denied it. HOA disputes don't qualify. Our neighbor Janet had been watching this unfold. She'd worked as a paralegal before retiring. Angela, she said over coffee, I've been reviewing public records. Brenda's done this before. She spread out printouts. 3 other houses in Prairie View, all with similar lien patterns. The Washingtons deployed to Afghanistan when it started. Mr. Chen moved to assisted living. The Johnsons fought for a year, then gave up. Notice anything? Janet asked. All the houses were paid off. No mortgages. All owned by military families or elderly residents. She's targeting people who own their homes free and clear, and people who can't fight back easily. Look what happened after foreclosure. She showed us corporate records. All 3 houses were bought by the same LLC, Mountain View Properties. The registered agent, Brenda Hutchinson. She's stealing houses, Angela whispered. With fake paperwork. 27 liens means 27 chances to make a mistake, Janet said. I found forged board signatures, impossible dates. Keep everything, don't pay a dime, and get cameras. Cameras? Trust me, if she's done this before, she's getting sloppy. Criminals always do. Angela installed a doorbell camera that week, and that's when we caught Brenda doing something that would destroy her entire scheme. At 5:17 a.m. on a Thursday, our doorbell camera caught Brenda Hutchinson in our front yard. She was carrying a trash bag and wearing workout clothes, like she was just out for a morning jog. Angela watched the footage in disbelief. Brenda scattered garbage across our lawn. Fast food wrappers, empty cans. Then she pulled out her phone and started taking photos of the violation she'd just created. Marcus, she's fabricating evidence. I watched the video from my barracks in Seoul. Save everything.
Back it up to the cloud. This is it. The next morning, same routine. This time, Brenda brought spray paint. She made a small mark on our fence, then photographed it as vandalism requiring immediate repair. Angela confronted Brenda that afternoon in her real estate office. "I have you on video planting trash in my yard." Brenda didn't flinch. "Prove that's me. Could be anyone in workout clothes. Besides, doorbell cameras aren't admissible in foreclosure proceedings." Foreclosure? Oh, didn't you get the notice? With 27 outstanding liens totaling $47,350, we're moving forward. You have 30 days to pay in full or surrender the property. This is extortion. This is business. Brenda leaned back. "I'll make you a deal. Sell me the house for $150,000 cash. Close in 10 days. Your liens disappear." "The house is worth almost double that." "Not with 27 liens, it isn't. Take my offer or lose everything in court."
But the best evidence came 2 days later. Brenda must have thought she was alone when she stood on our porch, talking on her cell. The doorbell camera caught every word. "Yeah, it's Brenda. The Torres house is almost ready. 3 more months max and it's mine. No, they won't fight. He's deployed and she's fallen apart. Did the same thing to the Washingtons, remember? Easiest 100K profit I ever made. Military families never fight back. They're too worried about security clearances." She actually laughed. "Already have a renter lined up, $1,800 a month. Yeah, that's 17 houses now. Not bad for 5 years' work." Angela's hands shook as she showed me the footage. She admitted everything. The Washingtons, the profit, how many houses. "Download it now," I said. "Send copies to Janet, to your sister, to my sergeant, everyone." Within hours, Janet had connected us with an attorney named Tom Rodriguez, former Army JAG, now specialized in predatory lending cases.
"This is beautiful evidence," Tom said, "but we need more. If she's stolen 17 houses, there's a paper trail, financial records, bank statements, co-conspirators." Co-conspirators? No way she filed 27 liens without help. Someone at the courthouse is dirty. This is organized crime. He was right. The next week, Brenda made her final mistake. She sent Angela a formal foreclosure notice with an attached settlement offer. One paragraph stood out. "Should you choose to pursue futile legal action, be advised that military security clearances have been revoked for financial irresponsibility. Your husband's career could suffer permanent damage." Tom actually smiled when he read it. She just threatened a service member's career to steal his house. That's a federal crime. Time to call the FBI. FBI Special Agent Sarah Coleman sat in our living room watching the doorbell footage for the 3rd time. "Mrs. Torres, this is exactly what we've been looking for." Turns out, the FBI had been tracking suspicious foreclosure patterns across Wyoming and Colorado for 2 years. Military families losing paid-off homes to HOA liens. But they'd never had direct evidence. Until now. "We need your help," Agent Coleman said. "Would you be willing to wear a wire?" Angela looked at me on the laptop screen. I was still stuck in South Korea for another 3 weeks. "Do it," I said. "Let's end this." Tom Rodriguez coached Angela for hours. Let her talk. Criminals love to brag. Get her to name names. The meeting was set for Tuesday at Brenda's office. Angela wore the wire under a cardigan. 2 FBI agents sat in a van outside. "Mrs. Torres," Brenda smiled like a shark. "Ready to be reasonable?" "I need to understand something first," Angela said. "How many families have you done this to?" Brenda looked proud. "I don't do anything to families. I enforce HOA rules. If people can't follow simple guidelines..." "Deployed for 8 months. Let their property deteriorate. I protected the neighborhood." "By taking their house?" "By enforcing standards." Brenda pulled out a folder. 17 properties in 5 years. Every one was bringing down values. Now they're rental income for responsible owners. "You mean for you?" "For my LLC. All perfectly legal." Angela played her part perfectly. "How do you get the liens to stick? My husband says the signatures look forged." Brenda laughed. "Your husband's in Korea. What does he know? Besides, Donna at the courthouse knows how to expedite things for the right price." "Donna Marsh?" 20 years she's been county clerk. Knows which judge will sign off without asking questions. Judge Brennan loves a good HOA lien case." "And the other board members?" "What board?" Brenda smirked. "There hasn't been a real election in 12 years. I sign as president. Jim Kelly notarizes as secretary. He gets $500 per house."
"Except the families who lose their homes." Brenda's face hardened. "Military families are perfect targets. Always moving, always deployed. Threaten the security clearance, they fold like laundry." "Is that what you told the Washingtons?" "Didn't have to. They gave up after lien number 15, sold to me for $140,000, worth $270,000 now. That's just smart business." The FBI had heard enough. Tom Rodriguez filed for an emergency injunction that afternoon, freezing all pending foreclosures. Agent Coleman called me in Korea. "Sergeant Torres, we've uncovered something bigger. Your HOA president has co-conspirators in 3 counties. This is a RICO case now." "RICO? Like organized crime?" "Exactly like organized crime. 17 houses, $3.2 million in stolen property. We're taking them all down." The search warrant was executed at dawn. FBI agents found boxes of documents in Brenda's home office, forged signatures, fake violation photos, a literal playbook titled Distressed Property Acquisition. But the smoking gun was her computer. Spreadsheets, tracking military deployment schedules, background checks on elderly homeowners' health conditions, a folder labeled Target Properties with 23 more addresses, all paid-off homes, all owned by vulnerable families. County Clerk Donna Marsh was arrested at her desk. Jim Kelly, the notary, tried to run. They caught him at the Colorado border. By the time I finally got home from Korea, Our street looked like a crime scene. FBI vans, evidence bags, reporters. I hugged Angela and the kids. "It's over!" "No," Agent Coleman corrected. "Now it gets interesting. We need every victim to testify. Think the Washingtons will come back from Texas?" They would. They all would, because Brenda had made one fatal mistake. She'd kept records of everything. The FBI raid on Brenda's house happened at 6 a.m. on Wednesday. I watched from our window as agents carried out box after box of evidence.
"Dad, why are the police at Mrs. Hutchinson's house?" Sophia asked. "Because she did bad things to good people, Davy." By noon, the full scope was clear. Agent Coleman called with updates. 17 stolen houses across Wyoming and Colorado. 43 families targeted. $3.2 million in fraudulent transfers. The evidence was overwhelming. Brenda had photographed every forged document, saved every fake lien. She'd even kept a handwritten journal rating how vulnerable each target was. The Washingtons. Military deployment plus new baby. Easy. Mr. Chen. Early dementia. No family nearby. Perfect. Us? Enlisted military. Teacher salary. 4 months max. She'd rated us like we were items on a menu. Tom Rodriguez gathered all the victims at the community center. The Washingtons drove in from Dallas. Mr. Chen's daughter flew from Seattle. Families I'd never heard of showed up with boxes of paperwork and tears. "She took everything," Mrs. Washington said.
We were in Afghanistan, trusting our country, and she stole our home. The criminal charges were staggering. 73 counts of fraud, 27 counts of forgery just for our house, RICO violations, conspiracy against rights, tax evasion. She never reported the rental income. But Brenda wasn't going down alone. At her arraignment, she tried to throw everyone under the bus. "Donna Marsh orchestrated everything," she screamed. "Jim Kelly forged those signatures. Judge Brennan took bribes." Her co-conspirators flipped immediately. Donna Marsh, facing 20 years, agreed to testify. She detailed how Brenda paid her $1,000 for expedited lien, how they targeted military families using deployment databases she illegally accessed. Jim Kelly, the notary, broke down crying. He'd notarized 400-plus fraudulent documents for $500 each. She said it was just paperwork. Judge Brennan was the biggest shock. 30 years on the bench, took $50,000 to rubber stamp foreclosures without reviewing cases. The trial was set for April. Brenda's lawyer tried everything. Mental health defense, claims of HOA authority, even blaming victims for not fighting harder. Then the prosecutor played the doorbell camera footage. The jury watched Brenda plant evidence, heard her brag about targeting military families, listened to her laugh about easy money. The Washingtons' testimony destroyed any sympathy. "We were serving in Afghanistan. We dreamed about coming home to Wyoming. Instead, we came home to nothing. Mr. Chen's daughter was worse. My father built that house in 1962.
She took it for $90,000 while he was dying of Alzheimer's. He died thinking he'd failed us. When it was my turn, I wore my blue dresses. Brenda Hutchinson didn't just steal houses. She attacked military families while we served overseas. She threatened our security clearances. She made my wife ill with stress while I was 7,000 miles away, helpless. The jury deliberated for 2 hours. Guilty on all counts.
At sentencing, Brenda still showed no remorse. I was protecting property values. These people didn't deserve those houses. Judge Patricia Hawkins had heard enough. Miss Hutchinson, you systematically targeted the most vulnerable members of our community. You perverted the HOA system into a criminal enterprise. 15 years, federal prison, $4.5 million in restitution, lifetime ban from any fiduciary position. Brenda's face went white. 15 years! She'd be 73 when she got out. Donna Marsh got 5 years. Jim Kelly got 3. Judge Brennan got 7 and lost his pension. As they led Brenda away in handcuffs, she locked eyes with me. No remorse, just rage that we'd fought back. But we'd won, and every stolen house would be returned. The federal trial started on a cold April morning. Media from across the country packed the courthouse. Wyoming's house-stealing HOA president had become national news. Brenda sat at the defense table in a conservative suit, trying to look like a respectable businesswoman instead of a predator who'd stolen 17 homes. The prosecutor, Assistant U.S. Attorney Michelle Chen, opened with our doorbell footage on a huge screen. The jury watched Brenda scatter trash, spray paint our fence, then photograph her own vandalism. This is how Brenda Hutchinson operated, Chen said. Create fake violations, file fraudulent liens, steal homes from families who couldn't fight back. The defense tried to argue Brenda was a dedicated HOA president who perhaps exceeded her authority. That fell apart when Chen presented Brenda's journal. She read aloud, "The Torres family, perfect targets. Husband deploys frequently. Wife seems weak. House fully paid off. Estimate 4 months to foreclosure." One juror actually gasped. The evidence parade was devastating. Forged documents with board member signatures, people who'd been dead for years. Backdated violation notices. Photos digitally altered to show overgrown lawns. Then came Brenda's financial records. 17 stolen houses converted to rentals, $67,000 monthly income, not a penny reported to the IRS. She didn't just steal houses, Chen explained. She built an empire on the broken dreams of military families and elderly homeowners. The victim's testimony was brutal. Every family had the same story: mysterious liens while deployed or hospitalized, impossible deadlines, forced sales at half value. The Washingtons brought photos. Their house before deployment, pristine. After Brenda's theft, turned into 4 rental units, their garden paved for parking. "She didn't just take our house," Captain Washington said. "She destroyed it." But the most damaging testimony came from Brenda's co-conspirators. Donna Marsh, the county clerk, detailed their system. Brenda would file liens on Friday afternoons. I'd expedite them without proper notice.
By Monday, homeowners had liens they didn't even know about. How much did she pay you? $1,000 per house, cash. Sometimes more if families were fighting back. Jim Kelly, the notary, was worse. He'd never even met the board members whose signatures he'd notarized. Brenda said they were traveling, busy people. I needed the money. Even Judge Brennan testified via video link from federal prison. She knew which cases to bring me. I'd sign foreclosure orders without hearings. $50,000 over 5 years. I destroyed my career for her bribes. Brenda's defense was pathetic. She claimed she was protecting property values, that military families were transient, didn't care about maintenance, that elderly homeowners were better off in assisted living. Then her lawyer made a fatal mistake. He put Brenda on the stand. Chen destroyed her in minutes. "Miss Hutchinson, is this your handwriting?" She showed the journal entry about us. "I don't recall."
You don't recall writing Torres family, perfect targets? Maybe I meant they were perfect for HOA enforcement. Because the husband was deployed? Because they had violations. Violations you created. Chen played the doorbell footage again. Is this you planting trash in their yard? That's not clear from the video. How about this? Chen played the audio of Brenda on our porch, her own voice. 17 houses now, not bad for 5 years' work. Brenda went silent. Miss Hutchinson, did you steal 17 houses from vulnerable families? I acquired distressed properties. From families in distress that you created? Brenda's lawyer objected. Overruled. The jury got the case on Thursday. They came back Friday morning. On count 1, wire fraud, we find the defendant guilty. On count 2, mail fraud, guilty. On count 3, conspiracy to violate civil rights, guilty. Guilty on all 73 counts. Brenda didn't move, didn't blink.
Like she couldn't process that someone had finally stopped her. But the best moment came during victim impact statements. The Washingtons announced they were using their restitution to start a nonprofit helping military families fight predatory HOAs. Mr. Chin's daughter revealed something beautiful. My father died thinking he'd lost our family home. He never knew we were fighting to get it back. Today, we can finally tell him we won. Judge Hawkins took the bench for sentencing. Ms. Hutchinson, in 30 years on the federal bench, I've rarely seen such calculated cruelty. You didn't just steal property, you targeted those who serve our country, our elderly, our vulnerable. You perverted a system meant to protect communities into a weapon against them. 15 years federal prison, no parole, plus 20 years supervised release. Brenda finally broke. "This isn't fair. I was protecting your bank account." The judge cut her off. "Remove the defendant."
As marshals led her away, Brenda looked back at us victims. No apology. Just disbelief that we'd fought back and won. Outside the courthouse,
Angela held my hand as we faced the cameras. "What's next?" a reporter asked. "We rebuild," I said, "and we make sure this never happens to another family." 6 months after Brenda's conviction, Prairie View Estates felt like a different neighborhood. The for rent signs came down as stolen houses returned to their rightful owners. The Washingtons moved back from Texas. Mr. Chen's daughter renovated her father's house and moved in with her family. The real HOA board, elected in the first legitimate election in 12 years, consisted of Janet Walsh as president, me as treasurer, and 3 other neighbors who'd supported us during the fight. "First order of business," Janet announced at our inaugural meeting, "dissolving every fake lien Brenda filed." It took 2 months to clean up the paperwork.
We found 312 fraudulent liens across the neighborhood. Some homeowners didn't even know they existed. The FBI investigation had ripple effects. 3 other HOAs in Wyoming were caught running similar schemes. Turns out Brenda had been teaching seminars. Distressed property acquisition through HOA enforcement for $500 a seat. 23 HOA presidents across 5 states were arrested. Brenda had built a network teaching predators how to steal homes using fake violations and corrupted officials. Angela became something of a local hero. She started a Facebook group, HOA Victims Fight Back, that grew to 10,000 members in 3 months. Families from across the country shared their stories, their documentation, their doorbell footage. "You gave us hope," one woman from Florida wrote. "We thought we were alone." The restitution process was complex but satisfying. Every stolen house had to be returned, every fraudulent sale reversed. Brenda's LLC was liquidated.
Her personal assets, including a $2 million home in Jackson Hole, were seized. The 17 families split $4.5 million. Not just restitution, damages, pain and suffering, lost equity, emotional distress. Our share was $267,000. "What do we do with it?" Angela asked. We knew immediately. Grandma Rosa's house needed the repairs we'd planned before Brenda's attack. New roof, new windows, that kitchen she'd always dreamed of updating. But the best part was movie night, 6 months after the trial. All the victim families gathered in our backyard. The Washingtons brought Texas barbecue. Mr. Chen's daughter made her father's famous dumplings. Kids played while adults shared stories. Not about Brenda anymore, but about their lives, their dreams, their futures. Captain Washington pulled me aside. "We're staying," he said. "Retiring here. This is home." "Even after everything?" "Especially after everything. This neighborhood fought for us. That's worth more than any house."
Tom Rodriguez stopped by with news. Congress is considering the Military Family Home Protection Act, inspired by your case, would make it a federal crime to target deployed service members with predatory liens. The doorbell camera that caught Brenda became neighborhood legend. Angela had it bronzed and mounted like a trophy. Our $40 crime fighter, she called it. A year later, 60 Minutes did a segment on the case. They interviewed us in the kitchen Grandma Rosa never got to renovate, now bright and beautiful. "Any regrets about fighting back?" the reporter asked. Angela laughed. "My only regret is not installing that camera sooner." They showed footage from Brenda's prison interview. She still claimed she was innocent, a victim of ungrateful homeowners. But federal prisoner #47829-038 wasn't convincing anyone from her cell in Colorado. Her real estate license was revoked. Her agency shuttered.
The building became a youth center, the Rosa Torres Community Center, named after my grandmother. She would have loved that, I told Angela at the dedication. Fighting bullies by helping kids, Angela nodded. Very Rosa. The Washingtons run veterans support groups there now. Mr. Chen's daughter teaches citizenship classes. Janet Walsh hosts senior social hours. The place Brenda used to plan her crimes now serves the community she terrorized. Prairie View Estates has the lowest HOA dues in Casper, $25 monthly, just enough for snow removal and streetlights. Board meetings are monthly, open, recorded. Every lien requires 3 board signatures and certified mail proof of delivery. Transparency, Janet says, is the best disinfectant. Sometimes I drive past the federal prison where Brenda's serving her 15 years, not to gloat, to remember. One person with power and no conscience nearly destroyed 17 families. But we fought back. We won.
And we made sure it could never happen again. That's Grandma Rosa's real legacy. Not just the house she left me, but the reminder that you stand up to bullies no matter how official their paperwork looks. Mijo, I can still hear her say, "Your home is your castle. Don't let anyone tell you different." She was right. She always was. The house is ours. The neighborhood is healed. And somewhere in Colorado, Brenda Hutchinson has 14 more years to think about the families who refuse to be victims. Sometimes the good guys win. Sometimes doorbell cameras catch more than packages. Sometimes fighting back changes everything.